All right, one more course to go to get through our primary core tenets. We're finally transitioning to the part that you guys are probably the most excited about, which is the financial side of things. In order to start having the business you want, the lifestyle you want, you can't do any of that. I wouldn't even get too deep, right, into planning it all out until you actually have control over your finances. If you guys are coming here, there's a great chance you probably just watched Anthony's course on the fitness side of things in the Discord. But I'm really hoping that unlocked a very important aspect of control and discipline for you, because that discipline is going to carry over into what we talk about here with the finances. Being able to have a better mastery of your day to day, as well as your bigger and medium term situations, gives you the steps and the actions you need to take to be able to succeed and thrive in the long. So, lesson one is going to focus on how do we actually identify who we are with money, and where do the beliefs and habits that we have with money actually come from. First of all, everything, let's go back to the first phase, right? The first course, your mindset. This is why we focus on it first, once again. Therefore, shifting your mindset changes your situation and changes your outcomes. You're here because your financial mindset is tainted in a bad light. It doesn't mean it can't be repaired, right? And ideally, if you've already started to fix your mindset and you're doing the journals, then you already have some sort of progress, and it'll be a lot easier to grasp these concepts than it was when you probably just got started. And that's okay, because school doesn't teach us this in the way that we should learn it. Neither do our parents or friends. And to be honest, a lot of the advice you'll get from parents or friends aren't going to be, the best tips ever, because they probably have a different situation and grew up in a different situation or setting than you did. So the focus of this course is going to be discovering A, the true beliefs you might not know you have, as I said here, but also B, what to do about it. So, in order to discover who we are with our finances and with our budgeting, I want you to actually do this activity with me. Pull up your bank account or credit card. You should have it on your phone. Just go on the app, log in real quick, pause the video if you need to, and do these steps. Look at the most recent 10 transactions. Like, look at the name. First of all, you better be able to recognize them and exactly what they were for. If you're on a joint bank account or you're married or something like that, then ask your partner what they were for. Determine if they are essential to your survival, if they are truly needs, right? As well as being and well-being as a human, right? So, if you're a human being, which I hope you are, and you're spending money, is this something that's going to directly lead to your survival in this world, the current society we live in? So, right, food, clothes on your back, shelter, some maybe probably you could argue transportation as well. Your subscriptions, right, your games and your makeup probably aren't the biggest investments you could make right now. And are you being 50% practical, 30, 20? Like, how much of these expenses are truly needs versus wants? That kind of tells you the practicality that's in your budget. And here's why personality matters. People pleasers, as we talked about in the past course, right, the social course, which is why we cover that first, they spend more money because they have to, right? Because they're like, oh, he's always going to buy the drinks. It's okay. He'll buy us around, won't you? And then you're like, oh, I guess, like, that's kind of what they expect of me, right? And so you'll swipe the card, and they'll take advantage of you. And that is very, very difficult and dangerous if you're in a bad financial position to begin with, because you'll never escape from it. And so you're also going to budget less, because you say you're going to spend $50 when you go out to the bar, but in reality you spent $120 because you had to buy your friends that round. And it's harder to actually account for these things, and focuses on experiences, right? So if you're a people pleaser, you're going to be too focused on what you're doing and what the setting is than you actually controlling, I have to spend $60 and no more than that tonight. Self-respecting people budget. They spend less, they say no more, right? And they keep more money. They don't give in to those temptations. If you need to review these concepts, please go back to the social and relationships course that we had out. The common types, right? There's the saver, pretty obvious, right? As much as you can after you have the needs covered, you're going to basically be saving everything. Spender, after I have the bare minimum covered for my survival, I'm going to spend as much as possible, right? The two extremes. Then you have avoider, right? Like, I don't know exactly how I'm doing because I don't want to talk about finance and I don't really know what my situation is. There's the money monk, right, that really studies concepts and they really have a formulaic idea of where everything's going, and etc., right? Because there's a ton of different ways people have mindsets about the money, but these are some common ones. I want you to reflect on your tendencies, right? Especially go back, look at the 10 transactions, and really get a grasp of what they were for. Do you save or do you tend to impulse shop? If you're a girl, right, maybe you're spending at Ulta and Target and Starbucks. If you're a guy, maybe you're blowing money on video games or like Netflix subscriptions, whatever it's going to be. Are you saving or are you spending it in ways that you truly don't need to survive? Because again, if you fix these things, it's going to be easier to connect it to all the other courses. You're not going to spend your time on Netflix, you'll be at the gym. You're not going to be on Netflix, you're going to be off your phone, right, or off the TV, and you're going to be working on something productive. And are you spending money for yourself or other people? If you're spending money, please at least make it for yourself and stop buying shit that you don't need for other people, like drinks, right, or fun times out. So limiting beliefs are really tying back into mindset, right? The doubts about who we are, the fixed versus growth mindset, and what we can actually do about our situation. You probably often save as well as spend, but for the wrong reasons. You probably think money needs to be possessed, but money's not the end goal, right? Freedom is the end goal. Freedom means you can spend what you want, but it also means you can live where you want, and you can live how and when you want, right? Not just the what, but all the other W's, right? And so mastering these concepts, right, and understanding that money gives you opportunities to control yourself and have sovereignty over your life, that is what you're going for. Your systems, processes, teams, and skills are what's actually being valued. Having money to spend on this regularly is vital to your growth, but you can't because you don't have control over it. But if you actually target money and you respect it and use it the right way, all of a sudden it starts working for you, as you probably heard many times over. You probably also think money's scarce, but in reality, money flows in and out. Seriously, listen to this. If you're in the U.S., you really should read The Lords of Easy Money. It's a great book. But if you don't know how money works, like the Fed, right, when they are dropping rates, right, something called quantitative easing, right, they're going to buy back a bunch of government bonds. And they do that basically just by punching numbers in a computer and saying all of a sudden money exists and it's going, into the large central banks. And so money just shows up, honestly, out of nowhere. And that's how money enters the system. And if you think money just can't be typed on a keyboard and it exists because we want to print more or create more of it, it's really just limitless. It's just the means to add value. And depending on how much value there is in the world, it can either be more or less reflective of that. But money is going to be flowing, right? No matter how much there is or being printed or destroyed at one time, money's always flowing. It's going to flow to you, and ideally it should flow through you to create new opportunities. But at the end of the day, you are the most important investment because that money's routing itself through you to create opportunity. So if you change your mindset from money is hard to manage and only rich people invest, right, to I have control over this, and it's very easy to change my mindset. I just need a little bit of work and I can get there. That is going to create the opportunities, right? Going back to mindset as I want to relate all these courses. So think about money and your habits specifically. Who's responsible for your money education? Because a lot of the ways you think about money probably came from someone close to you. Did you splurge in the stores with your mom? I did that as a kid, right? My mom used to love taking me shopping. And I didn't, over time, I thought there was nothing wrong with it, right? She's like, oh, come on. She's telling my dad, let's invest. He really wants to get that Xbox. And when I was like 6 years old, I thought it was going to be great, right? And then over time, I learned, we actually don't have as much money as I think. And I'm the one telling my mom, right, because she loves to spend money. I'm like, Mom, I don't need that anymore. We can't afford that. And I had to start helping my dad, convince my mom and people obviously who do these things because they love you. But hey, we can't afford that. It's not like the nicest thing we can have. We shouldn't be splurging on things like this. And so eventually I kind of had to tighten up to help, protect my family, right? Because it's not like my mom was a threat, right? She does these things out of love, but her understanding was from her, self was different from my dad's because they both had their own parents and different life situationships. I would say oftentimes my dad's probably pretty strict or, more strict than he needs to be, and they kind of balance each other out in the long run. So it's a good, relationship to have, but seeing how these different people in my life, as well as yours, right, how your parents spend money, how your friends spend money that you spend the most time with, are they looking at the bill or are they just swiping the card? These people all interact with you, and so subconsciously, right, underneath the water, your iceberg is learning these lessons from these people and ingraining their actions to be yours. So how do your money habits tie into your personality, which you probably also get from your friends and your relationships? And is your spending influenced by who you hang out with and who you date, right? Maybe your partner's like, please, can we go out? Can we go to the restaurant tonight? I mean, you shouldn't even be dating unless you have all the means to be able to do these things anyway. And that should be a huge, rule of thumb or reality check. But if you're seriously concerned about money at this point, do you really want the person around that's gonna, tell you it's okay to keep spending it and not take you for, serious, right? When you're in this step of your life versus just telling you, oh, you should splurge on this and that. They're not really looking out for you then, are they? And I need some people here to understand that, because there's probably people in your life that want you to spend because you're using up your value and the hard labor that you put into earning that money so that they can enjoy their life. And it's a pretty selfish thing to do. So how does this advantage you, right? Talking about understanding your money habits. Most people believe they're going to succeed, so many never try, or they're not going to succeed, so many never try, right? Or if you believe you are going to succeed, you will try. It's pretty straightforward logic, right? But money must be spent to make you successful, but in purpose. You're spending money, which is good, right? Because it should flow, but you're spending it in the wrong ways. It's not that you need to hang on to every dollar. Money should actually be put to work, right? You should invest it. You should find opportunities. But understanding where and when those occur is the important part. And it must reflect your Lucid chart. Guys, if you still haven't done this, go on lucidchart.com or the app. And for free, just make a chart. And I want you to point out where you are now, the different means that you at least have ideas of planning your business. And this is going to be an important thing too in the premium community we'll talk about. You don't have to do it if you're planning on joining that at some point. But you should probably have a somewhat, or just on a paper, a flow chart of roughly how you're going to invest money in different areas and how it's going to come back to you. But I want you to look at this picture, right? This is a business, right? There's operations going on. Maybe there's a marketing campaign going on the computer. This is a terrible picture. I don't really know what's going on here, maybe just aesthetics, but let's say they're running a marketing campaign. They have to pay their employees, right? They have to pay for the office space. These are all investments so that these people can work and generate income for the business. Those are all opportunities that take money to spend to be able to produce more, because ideally that's what these people are doing at this table. So the main shifts you need to understand are, first, the wealthy don't care about money. They really don't. They care about experience, right? They don't. If you walk into a room with the richest people, they don't care what watch you have on. They care about, what you did to get that money, or maybe what cool adventures or experiences you've been on in your life, because of the money you've earned. That's what really matters to them, because they've stopped giving a shit about money. They know how to get more, so it doesn't matter to them. It's like asking them, "Oh, where'd you get that water? A gas station? Why? It's not important to me." The wealthy don't care about the money also is because it works for them. They're not working to go get it, so it's not the focus of their attention. They now have enough that their money makes the money that they live off of, so that they don't have to pay any more attention to it. So they're almost like shocked when you ask them that. You also can't invest money until you're truly out of debt. We're going to talk about what truly out of debt means, because there's different ways to identify that. But I'm going to give you a path as well to fix this. And who has influenced your spending habits the most? Again, going back to your money habits, what people in your life influence you in ways that you're probably not even aware of? Think of everyone, right? Your roommates, your siblings, your best friends, your gaming buddies, right? Buy the new subscription or new game. Like, everyone has an impact on you. So for the action steps for this lesson, first, spend 5 minutes before continuing to the next video, ideally after I'm done talking here, but with a blank sheet of paper. I have this ripped in half piece of paper, if you know where that's from, right? When I ripped the page in half from the last course, but write down every major category of spending that you have. For all the unproductive spending categories, go through your bank statements, right? And ideally, you should always be going through your bank statements so you get a pulse on your finances and how often you actually are spending money. I want you to write down the totals for the last 2 months on this piece of paper. Literally just go line by line for everything you have, your Amex card, your Capital One card, your bank statement, your Chase Bank or account, whatever it is. Just write all those things down. Your crypto even, or investments, and I want you to circle the total, right, of all the money that has come out, and write that down. Maybe it's, the last 2 months, maybe you spent like $3,000. And remember that cost in your journal, because that's also money. All of that money is money that could potentially have been spent on a business if you saved parts of it by being more productive or more resourceful with what you did and not as wasteful. With that said, I want you to understand how mindset affects everything, right? Going back to the first phase and the first course I put out, being in control of how you think about money and think about your relationships. The second course, too, how these people affect you and affect your spending habits, and have in ways you probably aren't even aware of until you actually put the thought into it. Think of everybody in your life, and I want you to think about their spending habits. If you could describe it in 1 or 2 words, what would you say? Because how you treat people and how you interact with them, right? And how you accept their invites to go out, or maybe, have to plan a gift for them and stuff. You can think about the ways that they appreciate money. And so you can plan these things backwards and be like, okay, well, if Jimmy spends $1,000 a week that he doesn't have and he wants me to go out, he's probably not going to be cheap, even though he should honestly be cheap. And so I want you to get a good pulse on these relationships, and you should be thinking about how these people are good or bad with their finance, even as if it's uncomfortable, just so you know what opportunities to avoid better. With that said, I'll see you in lesson 2. Thank you guys for tuning into the first big step of this course. We're slowly getting through it.